Hey, how are you? My name's Felt, and we are back on our blue-white word that I'm not going to say because YouTube doesn't like it. We're playing Heliod the Radiant Dawn. Heliod the Radiant Dawn is actually one of my favorite thematic cards, both like lore, story, and gameplay-wise, because it does have the upside of being able to return enchantments from your graveyard to your hand. That is pretty cool. However, its flip side is you may cast anything as if it had flash, and spells you cast cost one less for each card your opponents have drawn each turn. Meaning that if your opponent is drawing answers for flipped Heliod, well, your cards are cheaper. If your opponent is just drawing one for turn, your cards are cheaper. Oh, what is that? You play Howling Mine, so your opponent is forced to draw two each turn, so your cards are cheaper? Well, if you have, like, Cold Steelheart, Arcane Signets, Swiftfoot Boots, any of that, you know, Sword of Forge and Frontier, any of those cards in hand, all of a sudden, your stuff is just free. Pair that up with Unwinding Clock, and get a just ton of value out of all of these artifacts that we have. Key to the Archive, Luck of Legends, Azorius Locket, got that Cold Steelheart in there. Overall, deck's very fun. It's very much blue-white, kind of control-y nonsense, I can't deny. But we do have win cons. We have pretty big win cons. Do stuff like Teferi's Ageless Insight, allowing us to just draw a billion cards, combining that with... where's it? Where'd he go? Where's the other Teferi? Temporal Pilgrim, who makes a bunch of tokens that can swing in at massive amounts. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is just one of your controlling parts. You have Emrakul in here as a way to make your opponent be very, very upsetty spaghetti, who you can flash in via Heliod. And if you have lots of cards in your graveyard and your opponent has drawn lots of cards this turn, Emrakul can go down to like 5, which is pretty cool. We also have Jin-Gitaxias Core Augur, who, he's just mean. He's in here for the funsies. Got a couple of extra turn spells in here in the form of Karns and Alrund's Epiphany. Dream Trawler is one of our big flying threats that'll actually probably help us win the game, combined with stuff like Shark Typhoon. Overall, deck's pretty straightforward. It's just kind of blue-white control nonsense. It just so happens to have a lot of emphasis on the card draw portion, and actually gives your opponent some card draw too, in order to make the flip side of Teferi. Teferi? Heliod. I've been playing too much blue-white control. To make the flip side of Heliod here be much better at giving you cheaper stuff to play on your opponent's turn. Now, do be careful with that. For example, if you play Howling Mind and then your Heliod Warped Eclipse gets kind of blown up, all of a sudden your both is drawing 2 cards per turn, which can be pretty dangerous. You'll typically draw into more answers than your opponent, but I've had plenty of games where I've lost because I was playing into a more aggro-slated red-green style deck. And my opponent just kept drawing threats and threats and threats and threats. And there's only so much you can do. You can only play so many board wipes when your opponent is drawing 4 creatures a turn, right? Not literally, but you get the idea. It's a fun deck. I have a feeling it says this is going to get placed pretty high overall in the ranked queue when the time comes around. But I still think it's a lot of fun. I still think it's a lot of fun to build around. And I still think you should probably make it and have some fun yourself. Either way, let's hop right into the gameplay. Looks like we are playing into Atraxa Praetor's Voice. We have Removal, we have Double Ramp, and we have a Shark Typhoon. I'm feeling pretty comfy and confident. Not insanely comfy and confident, but pretty comfy and confident. We might just have to Swords Atraxa on curve. I might Bolt the Bird, metaphorically speaking. Bolt the Bird being like killing their mana dork that they play. But I'm not exactly sweating it. We'll play Celestis here so we can Swords on curve if we have to. Supreme Verdict is wonderful into Atraxa because it takes care of any big creatures they start trying to play. Alright, you're not a bird, but I will Swords you. I wonder if they're going to concede immediately. I've run into quite a few people who will do stuff like that. They'll play, like, any number of commanders where, like, their commander is a kill-on-sight commander. And then they will just, like, instantly concede afterwards. Like, oh god, my commander died! I can't believe you've done this! And, like, it's very confusing. I've noticed it a lot with, You gonna pay out your whole turn to do that? They're going to spend their whole turn killing my thing. Sure. I've noticed that a lot with, say... What is his name? He's the little monkey that commits crimes. Ragavan. I've noticed that a lot with Ragavan. Ragavan players will, like, play Ragavan on turn 1, and if you, like, blow it up with swords or lightning bolt or something, they'll, like, immediately concede. They gonna take away Shark Typhoon? No! They actually exiled it too, which is the bad part. I don't think they actually knew that Heliod got it back. I think that was just their, oh crap, I gotta remove this moment. Interesting. We're just gonna ramp then, if our opponent is going to do what they're doing. Extra blue, I guess. We will play this in name white, just so we have a little more white. We're just slowly going to make this work for us, apparently. I find this to be interesting. This makes me think that they're probably playing, like, Praetors Atraxa, which is cool and interesting. I don't really have a way to deal with that, though, which is unfortunate, meaning that if they want to start milling me, they can. Fortunately, if they don't blow up my Midnight Clock like they've blown up every other cool card I've played, I'll get to Midnight Clock my way to victory. I don't really need an extra land here. You know, game? Who am I to say no? Do I have anything down here that's worth getting back? It's an artifact. I don't really feel like it's worth getting back, and I think we're just going to kind of hang back. I don't really feel a need to swing with the Solemn. I'm assuming my opponent just wants to do Realmbreaker stuff. We could have swung with the Hall, but... I guess they just really, 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 really wanted to mana ramp over there. I don't quite know the purpose of this card in most decks, though, other than, like, I can flip into Praetors, and that's so cool! They have 7 open mana, meaning they can't play their commander and then hold up like a swan song. They can play Cultivate. I think I might just start dumping points into Midnight Clock here. I didn't hit an enchantment, did I? I could technically play Heliod and get back Wizard class. It's not a terrible idea. I could also use Heliod as a way to draw out some counter spells and removal. Not the worst idea I've had. Everything's about to get cycled back with Midnight Clock, but... Radian Realmbreaker.
I am the nexus of all that is.
I don't know what they're doing anymore. I'm going to assume that Radian Realmbreaker is just a, aha, I have a creature now. And they want the whatchamacallits.
Please, buy us more time.
Are you going to swing? No? Alright, sure. We will take action. We will dump the land. Math is hard. Nah, I just have to animate. You gonna save Radian Realmbreaker there? I have a Hall of the Storm Giants opponent. What are you gonna do about that? I like to think it's a pretty cool card. Hall of the Storm Giants is, I think, the most underrated card in Historic Brawl right now. Any blue deck out there that is running any type of controlling game plan needs to be running it. It will absolutely just take over every single game that you are playing. Your opponents are not careful. Technically speaking, they can yoink a land here, but we are about to just cycle everything back together. They can do that again, but Solemn is just going to keep plinking away. Oh, they're just going to play Atraxa? Okay. They're going to play Atraxa and Plus, because that's very funny if that's the case, because we'll kill Ren response, I believe. Math is quite hard. I need 5 and a blue, so I need 6 open mana. And then I need 4 open mana. And I need 10. I need 11 total, actually, because I need an extra from all of the Storm Giants. Opponent, that's tapped. You needed to choose an untapped land. This is not the other. This is not Nissa. Nissa untaps. This one does not untap. They do get to proliferate. Thankfully, these aren't counters or anything. They just get an extra +1 on Ren. Ah, that's hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think I can do both, right? I mean, I'm just going to go for it, and we will see what happens. I want to kill their commander anyways, so here's a Supreme Verdict. Thanks for my land back in my graveyard, by the way. This spell can't be countered. It says that on the 10. And you only have 2 open mana, so you cannot Realmbreaker the Invasion Tree. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, it's 2. Sorry, it's 2. They do get another land off of me, but I'm literally about to cycle my whole graveyard. It's fine. They lost their commander again. Draw a card because I believe this will. Yeah, alright. Byron, no more mana fixing for you, opponent.
Suffering is
And then I will be able to basically redraw a fresh 7 after this, which will be pretty heckin' good. Look, I'm not gonna lie. If they had done that last turn and gotten the Narset part of Veils, I might have been scared. But here's the funny part. You see, here's the really funny part. They can't play anything. They just spent their entire turn playing Atraxa Grand Unifier to refill their hand and then discard half of it most likely because they have 4 in hand and they don't have like any mana fixing. So they can't really play most of what they have over there. Yeah, they can't really play most of that. I don't think they can play any of that. And they have to discard a card to hand size. Like, some of that's a little scary, but we have a Spell Pierce. Oh, wait, no, we don't. We have a full hand! We'll see what we draw. What we draw here will determine how happy I am about this all. Fairy's Ageless Insight's pretty good here. Can we do this in flip? I think we can do this in flip. Let's go for it. Actually, you know what? No. We'll do this, because this allows us to draw 2 cards off of the trigger. This is only creatures. Let's see, we draw 2 cards off the trigger. We will drop one of the tapped lands here. We have protection. We have counterspelling, depending on what color mana they use. If they play stuff that's in blue, Mystical Dispute is wunderbar, because that means I get multiple counters. I hate having both my gates in hand, but I have a ton of open mana here. It doesn't really scare me. They are going to start gaining a, I believe the technical term is crap load of life on this next turn, but... Invasion of Niferaxio! Swing and a miss! I mean, they could have a counterspell. They do not. That is, in fact, a swing and a miss. That is, like, most of their turn to try and flip that. I mean, they can Realm Breaker, Invasion of the World Tree all they like here. That'll be cool, I guess. We'll be able to... I wish I could have Mind Spliced. Alas. I will probably flip Heliod after this, because I have protection now and the ability to flip. That's pretty good. We will do it the painful way. Because I think it's just the better plan. And then we will just pass. Unless my opponent plays a card. And then I will probably Lorn's Escape to protect myself. This is it's a bit of a scary spot. They can just like throw annoying stuff into my graveyard here. I'm a little sad Swan Song got taken away. It is, however, not the end of the world. My opponent drawing cards will make all of my stuff cheaper, which will make, in turn, all of my stuff cheaper. Swords! Nice. My opponent drew 1, so Arcane Signet is down to 1. This is down to 2 and a blue now. They can go for the thing. Oh, they're just gonna go straight to combat? Okay, I'll try and kill your Atraxa. Sure. Got out a protection spell, that's pretty easy. Math is hard. Can I play this and other stuff? I can play this for essentially free. This pays for itself. I'm not exactly scared about my life total. I'm on a 2-turn clock, but like it's not that scary. Alright, we'll try and flash in an Arcane Signet. Will it resolve? It will, for now. Math is hard. Can I flash this in? I will then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 open mana, which means I can also discover the formula, even if they do counter it. Which will make a lot of stuff very cheap. Actually can't, can I? I cannot, actually, because otherwise Lauren's escape would be I get to draw 2 off this after scrying 2. We'll do that. Draw 2. Rewind. Pretty effective card in this instance. Pays for itself pretty well. I'm not exactly scared here. Unfortunately, this is like a trigger, but like they can't do it yet. But hey. Right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they only have 7. I mean, you could, yeah, go for it, buddy. They hit some annoying stuff, but it's not the end of the world. They got an Otawara as a land. They have more of my lands than their lands at this point, I swear. No. I don't want you to brainstorm. And then we get to untap 4 lands, which means that technically paid for more than itself. And once again, we are being able to draw 2 cards here. Counterspell is wonderful, as is Shore Up. 2 forms of protection, drawing bonus cards for Omen of the Seas as well. Ominous Seas, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They can do it! Egads! I'm going to do this now. And I'm going to do this now. And then do this in response as well.
If you wish to surrender,
because there is a very big chance things are going to go wrong here. Oh, wait, they're not. I can... oh, I chose the wrong spell! No! Shore Up doesn't give Indestructible! I can play this at instant speed, though. Oh, yeah, all your stuff is now dead. I don't get to untap, but all your stuff is now dead. We can resolve that. And my 1 land doesn't get untapped. How you doing, opponent? You're looking like you're feeling fresh to death over there. We'll play Dream Trawler after this. We will do this to draw 2 cards. Drop the land. 2 counters. Another counter. Alsaid for protection from stuff. Dream Trawler because it's a monster, and then I cannot play this and hold up 2 forms of protection, so I will chill. I want to hold up 2 forms of protection. My opponent still has Doomblade and Nissa and Elish Norn. I can give pro black if they try and kill it. I can do pro a lot of things here. Let's do this first. I have so many spells that I can activate here and effects that I can activate here to keep myself safe. Oh, no, 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 no. That's my spell, opponent. You can't play that. Don't need a land. My game is starting to honestly chug a little bit. I don't have any triggered abilities on ETB, I don't think. I might have 1. Oh, man. Oops. I forgot to click a bunch of times. My game's kind of getting a little bit of the chuggy wuggies, as the cool kids call it. Nobody calls it that. Alright, we'll play land. We'll in turn. We'll flip Day-Night Cycle. We'll draw 2 cards off it. We have a 2-mana Sunfall because our Mind Slice apparatus is popping off. We draw a bunch of cards, triggering a bunch of effects, so now we have a pile of counters on our Omen of the Seas. Things are going pretty well, you know? We can discard a card to make this hexproof. Not indestructible, but then we can give pro color with other things.
which cannot protect itself.
This might be just a Sunfall turn from the looks of it. As much as I don't want to Sunfall my Dream Trawler,
But we also will not
it might be a Sunfall turn. We might... Yeah, this is looking like a Sunfall turn, especially if they turn a creature into a thing with Nissa. We've gained back a ton of life with you, my child, but...
The land fights for us.
Play a line of Anticipation. So now they can cast their stuff at fast speeds, too. Interesting. We can just God's Willing this, give it pro green for the swing in first, too. Thanks for the free life. He will do this once again, just draw all the cards. Jin, my boy! My game is... Okay, well, this is basically game at this point. Extra turn. Jin Gitaxis. God's willing. Throw green. I keep hitting the button not often enough. We need to kill Nissa first. I will go ahead and activate this. We'll make a Kraken.
I must seek comfort in a land.
There's most of my deck. If we can't win now, I will be shocked and appalled. Keep 7, the rest will be discarded. I want to keep Teferi so we can tuck stuff. Dovin's Veto, Karn's Temporal Summoning, Emrakul. Wash Away, Absorb, and Sunfall. Karn's Temporal Sundering. Take turn, bounce non-land permanent. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Tuck Elish Norn, and we got there! My opponent thought they were so slick. But we got him. We got him dead to rights. I think that they were really, really banking on that Realm Breaker proc, just winning them the game on the spot. I don't think they paid attention to the fact that I can cast my spells as though they have flash with Heliod. The fact that I could just slam a 3-drop board wipe that is uncounterable on their fresh board of Praetors and have 1 land be extra tapped. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. But yeah, GG's opponent. You did play well. You had me on the ropes there. I got pretty low, but I got 2 or 3 really solid plays that pulled me back. On to the next. We're on the play with a hand we probably can't keep into Tesher, Ancestors Apostle, I've never seen before. If you cast a historic, return trigger creature card with mana value 3 or less. Okay, so unfortunately I have no graveyard hate, but we'll try and make this work. This hand is very much keepable. I want to play this so that I can maybe make disappear on 2. Apologies, opponent. It's nothing against you. I just like muting my opponents. There's a 4-drop. I think we'll do this, and then just like hold up negate and make disappear. And then we'll probably play Alseid on the next turn, and then do similar stuff. No, that card is incredibly powerful. We're not dealing with that. Play Alseid. We might just play Heliod on this next turn. I don't really have anything down there that I care about returning. I will not let them mana ramp. No, thank you. Come again. And they will scoop it up. Joke's on them. Those were my only 2 counter spells for probably most of my deck. I have a handful more, but like, that was just a lucky draw. GG's, I guess. On to the next one. We're on the play with a debatably okay hand into Muldrotha. Muldrotha scares me. I think I've made the mistake of saying in a previous video about Sultai Commanders, and I think I just like forgot Muldrotha existed when I was talking about it. I apologize to any Muldrotha lovers out there. I forgot about her as a Sultai commander. She's a very good commander. I think we're just kind of gonna go hard here, and then just try and slam Teferi. My opponent does get to ramp a bit. A little scary, but we don't really have a way around it. I think we just kind of want to slam our Teferi here. If they counterspell him, that's fine by me. Doesn't really bother me. I just want the extra card draw. I really just want to draw a bunch of extra cards. My opponent's probably going to be able to play Muldrotha soon, which is a little scary, but... It's actually Vivian Monster's Advocate.
A world of...
That is scary.
I'd like you to meet my friend.
Relax.
Stumpy.
This is supposed to be fun.
Draw a card. Draw a card. I think Teferi dies here. We will foretell this. And I think we'll solve the equation for a farewell here. Might sound a little weird to go so obvious in my game plan, but I know my opponent has to respond, essentially. I don't know why they're emoting. This is why I just mute people.
The arc bow is
Okay.
powerful.
But they get Toski, so they will get to draw a bunch of cards here if they so choose. Oh, Teferi didn't die? I don't know why they didn't kill Teferi. We're now going to exile everything, though, so I'm kind of confused. I mean, I have a Swan Song in case they try and get cheeky with it. We will add the white here. All creatures, artifacts. I'll just hit it all. I have a Swan Song to counterspell them in case they try to do anything. It looks like they might try and do something here, and I will still just keep holding up my Swan Song.
Another mystery solved.
Oh, Sea Dasher Octopus. Not what I expected. We'll get an extra turn after this. That'll be pretty nice. Oh, they just mutate Tribal. I'm not gonna lie, that's a little boring. I was expecting something more interesting from Muldrotha. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they might do something fun and cool with their graveyard, and instead they're just straight up playing. Can I play Emrakul after this? I can probably play Emrakul pretty soon. We just kind of want to hold up Rewind here, so then we can also hold up Swan Song. Emrakul will be a cool card. It'll be nice to be able to play out my opponent's turn. No! We will untap all of that. We can't use this yet, unfortunately. We can Otawara away this thing, which might be the actual play here.
I'd like you to meet my friend, Stompy.
It ended up being the play. We bounce that back to hand. They get both of their things back in hand. So it's a little janky like that. But, you will go ahead and flip. And we can now do any of our things at any time, essentially. Especially once my opponent starts going out. With a bang. Bouncing Shore Shark. Alright. What are they going to do? Are they going to bounce my Heliod? Okay, I will instant speed Sunfall. I don't know if they were expecting instant speed Sunfall. It's kind of a weird one, to be fair. I can't really blame them for not expecting that. Hey, they can make a thing, but I have a little, I'll flip my guy here. I don't think they have a way to deal with it, so, we'll also just play Emrakul. Which sounds pretty cool. I haven't gotten a chance to play this card yet, actually. Please let me play your turn. Please let— No! I wanted to do it! I haven't gotten to Emrakul yet! I'm so upset. I haven't gotten a chance to resolve Emrakul yet. I've put it in like 1 or 2 decks I've tried off cam, off stream, off everything, and I've never gotten her to resolve. This is the first time it's happened. I think my opponent was mad that I was probably just going to like minus swing into my stuff and get their things killed. I was probably gonna like double mutate onto this, swing into Emrakul so it all dies, maybe play out their Muldrotha as well or something like that. I was gonna figure something out. Maybe they just had something really good in hand they didn't want me to see. People really don't like having their turn taken away. But GG's opponent, that was a pretty tight game. Let's go on to the next. Opponent goes first. We are playing into Ayara, First of Locthwain, a mono-black Stuff Dies deck with lots of card draw built in effectively. Kind of want to just slam Alseid on turn 1. And then slam maybe Lavinia on turn 2. I don't think that they'll actually play too many scary stuffs, though. That's a tiny bit concerning. Maybe we just hold up Negate if it looks like they're going to play stuff like Phyrexian Reclamation. This is a pretty scary card because with Ayara, because stuff will just really start popping off. I think we hold up the Negate and God's Willing to maybe just like... Dissenter, not that scary. It looks like they do not have any mana over there. That's fine. We will play this. Celestis for ramp. Little scary. We can't hold up the counterspell anymore. We do still have Gods Willing to protect Alseid, which means Alseid can be used in the future to protect other things. If they just swing in, never mind. They just really don't want to swing in. Okay. I'll play Lavinia here. This is a bit of an odd one. But I want to be able to hold up multiple pieces of interaction, and I can't do that if I play Solemn. Mono Black has lots of scary stuff, especially when they're allowed to have 6 open mana. Nykthos is fine. Nykthos has never been overtuned. What are you talking about? Falcon with Noble, little scary because it's a flyer, but not the end of the world. And this right here is why I wanted to keep Negate. Stuff like Diabolic Intent. Very scary. I don't think I have a... whatchamacallit in this deck, though, unfortunately, for myself. Can't think of the word. Like a Field of Ruin type effect. Hi, Solemn. We're probably going to end up losing at the rate we're going, but we could draw into a good card or two here. God's Willing isn't really good enough to hold up this game. My opponent's going to slowly drain me out. They can replay the stuff a lot, sacrifice it a lot, do all sorts of stuff. Thankfully, I did counter out their Diabolic Intent. Unfortunately, the problem with cards like this is that if it's like a... whatchamacallit? I can't think of the word. They clearly don't have anything to spend that Nykthos on, the way that they just slammed that Reassembling Skeleton down. Because they just let... maybe they auto-tapped wrong. That's a possibility. Oh, they auto-tapped wrong. Yeah, I feel that, opponent. I feel that. I think we'll just pass this Prio here. I think we'll just play Teferi and draw with him. Yeah, unfortunately, all these sacrifice effects are instant speed, by the way, so I don't really get a chance to interact with most of them. I cannot use, like, God's Willing to randomly give them pro a certain color. Midnight Clock's pretty okay. It might help us find an answer of some sort eventually. Teferi will slowly glow. They'll probably die on this next turn, though. My opponent probably has some form of something or another. That'll be pretty scary. I can't imagine that they don't have some crazy card ready to go for, like, 7 mana here or something. I'm kind of surprised that Nykthos is allowed in Historic Brawl, considering it kind of warps the format sometimes. Like, decks like this, they don't need more than 4 lands. They just don't. It's kind of weird. They can't... I believe Lavinia counts them out of stuff, right? Yeah, they can't cast non-creature spells with mana value greater than the lands they control. Which is why they're going after Lavinia, who is now going to get pro-black, and if they burn 2 removal spells on Lavinia, fine by me. Swords! Yes! That's a great draw. We also could have instant speed Alseid protected Lavinia again. By the way, in case you're wondering why I'm not, like, stressing of that interaction with the pause. But yeah, they basically can't play their super expensive non-creature spells because of Lavinia here. Decline. Draw a card. I'm astounded that they're not swinging it to Teferi. Spell Pierce, pretty okay. Let's play Midnight Clock so we can maybe eventually get back around to doing other cool and good things. We could play Heliod. We can actually just straight up play Heliod, can't we? Let's play Heliod. He can't flip, but we can play him. And we can maybe get out, like, some baited removal spells or something here. Oh, we can do this in response now. We can now get rid of one of their ways that they are slowly draining me. And we still have really great protection, and we have kind of stalled out the board state. Unfortunately, I need to be very, very, very careful with how I use Alseid now, because I only have the 1 open mana. It's a little bit scary. They can't play non-creature spells that are super expensive, but they can flood the board with creature stuff. This looks like it'll be most of their turn here. If they double spell the kill, that's kind of fine by me. Throw black. We are using our resources quite a bit here, but we have Zapowa. I think on this next turn we'll probably just draw with Teferi and then like use Celestis to like cycle and gain us life. This is a very grindy matchup. Hilariously enough, Lavinia, who was a maybe inclusion in this deck, I think is hard stopping my opponent from playing most of what they want to play. I think a lot of stuff they want to play might be like...
Another mystery solved.
Let's do this, but pay normally. And now we have access to playing stuff for slightly cheaper. I think we will drop some cards here. If they're smart, they just sack the Ruinous Chupacabra and then come at my Heliod again. Thanks for the card draw. I think they're just like really hoping to come after Lavinia now because she's probably countering them out of some really annoying stuff here. Anyways, let's go ahead and do this actually, because while we have this amazing we're going to get a really big cost reduction here. And we're going to be able to do creatures and enchantments and graveyards right now. Because of the way that Heliod works. Woo! Get outplayed! Ah! Oh, my opponent walked into that. You have to be really, really, really careful with Heliod out. You have to be incredibly careful with Heliod out. He will absolutely just make you have all sorts of problems. My opponent now has to discard cards, which is nice. Teferi, I think, will probably make like a token creature here, so I can maybe start the beatdown. We'll play Dennick to get even more creatures. We could have played Heliod, but I didn't really feel like Heliod dying. Spell Pierce is still playable and usable. It's not quite as good as I'd hope. But my opponent is in for a really rough time. I also kind of want to just pump mana into Midnight Clock with Teferi and his token on board. That is very nice. If you're going to play Arcane Signet, you're going to pay 4 for it. This is a really, really, really toxic move. I'm not going to lie. My opponent is now struggling to recover. But Ayara is an incredibly powerful commander and will quite often destroy you if you're not careful. So I'm just going to play it out my way as best I can here. And try my best to... That can't target stuff because of Dennick, by the way. In case you're wondering why there was no trigger on the stack. Dennick makes it so that they can't target the graveyard. Haha! This is probably going to be a... Depending on what I draw, this will probably be a minus Teferi past the turn. Never mind. With Midnight Clock about to flip, we're going to play Ominous Seas. And I think we will just draw a card off Teferi, though.
I am here to learn.
And then... Do I go for it? I think I might. It's a bit of a scary one, but I want as much life as possible. My opponent is playing a deck that will drain me out super fast. So I want to gain as much life as possible and do as much good as I can for myself. My opponent's trigger that's being held up is most likely just their Soul Guide Lantern. I'll probably be able to just, like, pay out into the Midnight Clock here in a second. My opponent also has to be really careful about just, like, playing stuff out. Teferi is going to take most of their board state and make it disappear in a second here. If I so choose. I'm not going to yet, but I could. Hello, friend. Very scary alchemy card. One of the few alchemy cards I play, honestly. It's just so scary. I can't say no.
Knowledge is meant to be shared.
I get 3 spells for free here, essentially, and they all cost 1 less to cast. One of those is incredibly good. Another one of those is pretty good. It's blue-green. I don't think it's worth playing yet. This is amazing, though. I can just pop this in their upkeep, and I think I'll maybe, like, scare them off. We cannot swing with Dennick. We want to lock him out of their graveyard. I think we want a Surge of Salvation on their upkeep, yeah. So that I just, like, don't take any damage throughout the entirety of their turn. In response to the trigger, I will do 2 things and put them both on the stack. Because I want them... I want them, essentially. Mind Splice, because then I will get tons of things going, and Surge of Salvation, because all of my stuff will effectively phase out for them. Not truly phase out, but effectively phase out. Look at all them procs. 28 triggers. Procs. I'm playing too many other games. That was satisfying. And yeah, my stuff basically can't be touched. I am hexproof, and all black or red damage sources do not kill me or deal damage to me. We can also pop out a Kraken at any point in time. Also, my Teferi has 19 counters. I'm surprised that still does damage. I feel like it shouldn't. I will gain an oil counter. Take an action here to gain some life. Discarding a card. I will swing with everything. And then we'll probably hit the Vanquish the Horde after this. Gaining 2 life, and then some more life off the Celestis, probably. It's not lethal, but it's a lot of damage coming in at their face. Do I really have to, then? I think I will. I think it's worth it to kill off Ayara, honestly. Bit of a weird one, but I think this is absolutely worth it so that I can kill off their commander here. Unwinding Clock doesn't quite do what I want it to. We will make a token.
Nobody knows the past better than me.
Make a Kraken, and then we will have 3 counter spells that will be made. This one's really good because I'll untap 4 lands off paying 3. This one I can sack something to make it better. I don't know why they're manually tapping. Maybe they're going to play something that has some sort of value to it. It would be a shame if I counterspelled it. And there they go. Yeah, I was taking no prisoners and being very rude, quote-unquote, with a lot of my plays. Mono black decks are terrifying with the amount of cards they have access to. I think in Historic Brawl, they might be some of the scariest decks. I was constantly on the ropes. That's why I was always trying to find the little bits of life gain here and there and ways to draw into my card advantage and ways to try and keep stuff alive. Overall, I think that game went pretty well. GG opponent, on to the next. We are going first, playing into Jetmir with double counter spells and an Alseid. I'm feeling pretty comfy and confident about this. We will reveal the land so we can just play Alseid on turn 1. Can't imagine. I mean, Jetmir could have like a 1-drop. Jetmir could have a 1-drop. We'll just vibe it out and we'll see what happens. I kind of want to slam Heliod ASAP, but I also want to make sure that I just like counter their commander. We may as well gain what little life we can, right? There's not very many things that they play that I think scare me enough to make disappear. But There are a couple. Like rabble rousing is a big one. We can play this tapped. We can save ourselves a little bit of life here. I think we really need to worry. Chromatic Lantern is one of those things that, while not scary, I don't want to deal with it. Them playing that kind of implies that they might be missing mana sources. This is sketchy. This is very sketchy. If they play something that's like really scary here, oh! Okay, bye. I guess they just didn't have the green they needed, and the Chromatic Lantern was exactly the thing. That's why I made it disappear, because, like, well... Alright, they don't have green, a lot of ramps in green. Maybe if I just, like, take care of that green, they're done. Turns out, they were! GG's opponent. There were some very long and very short games in there. That will probably be your experience as well playing Heliod, the Radiant Dawn. I feel like he's a super fun commander. I think he has a lot of really interesting play patterns. I think he might be a nightmare in paper because of you have to keep track of how many cards your opponent have drawn each turn. But overall, I think he's super fun and super interesting. You can see tons of there are tons of ways to win with him, either via just shutting your opponent down, or by just building up a massive amount of card draw, or by just Imra-cooling them. Overall, I think it's a really fun, solid, and interesting deck. I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. It's really fun. You might run into people who will, like, scoop pretty quick if you aggressively counterspell the stuff that's scary, but hey, that's the case. I think he's probably going to get put higher in the queue than he currently is. He's probably going to get stuck up there around the likes of Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Maybe not like Golos or Brawl, Chief of Compliance level, where like they're just SSSSSS tier, stuck up in Hell queue. But I do think he'll probably end up being a little higher, so you might have to craft your deck a bit more like this, where it's all about card draw and counter spells and mana ramp and playing around all of those pieces simultaneously. But that is kind of the sorry state of playing blue-white. You are the cop of the table when you play a deck like this in Commander, so when you play it in 1v1, being the cop of a 1v1 can add some difficulties. Let's call them difficult. Still super great. Kind of slammed the queue with it. We lost one game amidst my recording session that I did not include because it was Brigbos and Fibblethip, and they just bullied me with with a Slowgurk and a Vorinclex. And I decided, you know what? This is a bad game. This doesn't show off anything. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you didn't mind some super long and super short games. Like I said, sometimes that's just the way of the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and all that stuff. It really helps me and supports the channel. Don't forget to come watch me live on Twitch where I'm doing all sorts of other stuff. We actually did a live in paper Magic stream the other day. This absolutely dates when this video was recorded. Either way, thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.